the structural organization of a cell. The organs make up a human body, and cell organelles make up the cell. Just like the organs of the body work together to make sure that the body can perform all tasks, the cell organelles also work together to ensure the proper functioning of the cell. Each cell has components which perform specific functions within a cell. For example, exchange of materials, synthesis of proteins, release of energy, etc. This is an example of a plant cell. This is an example of an animal cell. Cell structure. The parts of a cell are 1. Cell wall, which is in plant cells. 2. Plasma membrane. 3. Cytoplasm. And 4. Cell organelles. Let us now see each of these parts in detail. Plasma membrane or cell membrane. As a cell is a distinct unit of life, every cell is bound by a thin covering which separates the contents of the cell from its external environment and gives separate identity to the cell. This covering is called plasma membrane. It is a living, extremely delicate elastic membrane of about 70-degree Armstrong thickness. 1 degree Armstrong is equal to 10 micrometer, which is equal to 10 raised to minus 7 millimeter. It is made up of a lipid bilayer, which is 2-molecule thick layer and having integrated protein molecules. Therefore, it is also described as a number of protein icebergs floating in the sea of lipids. The organization of the plasma membrane is not fixed, and hence it is flexible. Similar to the mosquito net, plasma membrane also permits the entry and exit of some materials in and out of the cells while preventing the other materials to do so. Therefore, it is called a selectively permeable membrane. Because of the selective permeability, 1. Useful molecules enter the cell, for example, water, salt and oxygen. 2. Useful products remain in the cell, for example, enzymes and proteins. 3. Waste and other secretions leave the cell, for example, carbon dioxide and homeostasis, that is, a constant internal environment is maintained in spite of changes outside. Students, let us see how exchange of water takes place in a cell. Osmosis. Activity. Observe a Rio leaf. It is two-colored. Its upper surface is green, while the lower surface is magenta red. Mount the peeling of the lower surface of the Rio leaf in water on a slide and examine cells under the high power of a microscope. Put a strong solution of sugar or salt on the mounted leaf on the slide. Wait for a minute and observe under a microscope. What do you see? You will see that the cell contents are separated from the cell wall and more space is present between the protoplasm and the cell wall. Which substance move in and out of the cell? Students, let us understand how it happens. Plasma membrane, being selectively permeable, allows the entry and exit of water molecules. At the same time, restricts the entry and exit of certain solutes. This passage of water from a region of high water concentration through a selectively permeable membrane, for example, plasma membrane, to a region of low water concentration is called osmosis. This is a pure mechanical process by which the cell gains water without spending energy. When a cell is placed into a solution of sugar or salt, there are 3 possible situations. First, the medium surrounding the cell has same water concentration as that of the cell. Such a solution is called an isotonic solution. Second, the medium surrounding the cell has higher water concentration than that of the cell. That is, outside solution is very dilute. Such a solution is called a hypotonic solution. Third, the medium surrounding the cell has lower water concentration than that of the cell. That is, outside solution is more concentrated. Such a solution is called a hypertonic solution. The shrinkage of cytoplasm in animal or plant cell when placed in hypertonic solution is called plasmolysis. Activity: dip some Rio leaves in boiling water for a minute. This kills the cells. Then mount the lower peel of the leaf on a slide and observe it under a microscope. Then put a strong solution of sugar or salt on the mounted leaf on the slide. Wait for a minute and observe it again. What did you find? The cells of the Rio leaf are seen under the microscope. Did plasmolysis occur now? Why? No, plasmolysis did not occur because the cells are dead. When cells die, the membranes of the cells lose their property of being semi-permeable. Along with osmosis, diffusion also plays a role in exchange of material in and out of the cell without spending energy. For example, taking in oxygen from the air in the body and giving out carbon dioxide. In addition to this, transport of some other molecules like insulin also takes place in and out of the cell. These active cellular processes need energy. They are called endocytosis, that is, engulfing the food and other material from external environment, and exocytosis, that is, throwing out the waste and secretory material. Students, now let us see the difference between diffusion and osmosis. Diffusion occurs in any medium, whereas osmosis requires liquid medium. The diffusing molecules can be solid, liquid, or gases, whereas osmosis involves movement of only solvent molecules. In diffusion, a semi-permeable membrane is not required, whereas in osmosis, a semi-permeable material is needed. Cell wall. Students, let us move on to see the structure of the cell wall. In addition to plasma membrane, plant cells have another rigid outer covering called the cell wall. It lies just outside the plasma membrane. The cell wall is non-living and freely permeable, which means that it allows all sorts of substances to enter and leave the cell freely. It is made up of cellulose, which is a type of carbohydrate. It gives protection to the cell and also determines its shape. You have seen what happens when a living cell is placed in a hypotonic solution. The cell absorbs water and swells due to osmosis and becomes turgid. But the presence of cell wall in plant cells, bacteria and fungi help the cells to counterbalance the pressure exerted by the vacuole, which is filled with water. The plant cells become turgid but withstand the pressure. Unicellular freshwater organisms and most plant cells tend to gain water through osmosis. Cytoplasm. When you had observed cells from the onion peel, you had seen flat cells with plenty of fluid. This fluid, which lies in between the plasma membrane and nucleus, is called cytoplasm. Living cytoplasm is constantly moving. It is a jelly-like substance. Many cell organelles lie in the cytoplasm. Cellular chemical reactions take place in the cytoplasm. The part of cytoplasm other than organelles is called cytosol. It stores vital substances like amino acids, glucose, vitamins, etc. In animal cells, cytoplasm is more granular and dense, while in plant cells it is thin and mostly pushed to the periphery due to larger central vacuole.